Hi and welcome to tonight's show. You're with Tom, Brian and Steve, and this is NRL from the Sidelines, and as we do it every time this week, we're going to talk about the NRL round that has just been played, which I believe was round 9.
Yes.
Gentlemen, how are you tonight?
We're good. You know, you people are lucky out there that you don't hear all this garbage they give me before we
The
start.
pre-show is just as good as the show. Really.
Man, they
So
give
you
me
think
heaps.
we should have
And it's all reversed during the show.
Just one-sided the whole way.
we should have a studio audience, you reckon?
Oh, dear. Yeah.
All right, so let's. I asked you, are you fine?
Yeah,
Yeah.
good.
Tired.
Yeah. I was going to make a crack about the winner's circle, but one isn't a circle.
Is that
So,
okay?
come on. I've got to gloat a little bit.
Right.
You can gloat as much as you like. We just don't have to listen to you.
You do.
But all you do have to listen because we want you to watch a show. So
You told me
you got to listen.
You told me my team was getting the spoon after 4 rounds.
So, no,
Still
you
time.
said your team was getting the spoon after 4 rounds.
Still time.
You said
Won't
it.
happen.
Only take a hammy.
Let's go on. Yeah. Or 2. Let's go on to Stadium Australia where the South Sydney Rabbitohs and the Melbourne Storm. Melbourne winning 50-0. Before we do this, gentlemen,
Oh, hang on.
Here he goes.
go.
That's funny.
Read my lips. Souths have got nothing.
You guys suck. That's right, isn't it, Steve? I'm always trying to ignore us.
Please, can you post your thoughts on this game to Facebook, NRL from the Sidelines, so
Yeah.
Stephen, he can't ignore it then.
Yeah, make sure you direct it at Stephen. So, yeah.
He won't face up to reality, is his problem.
Well, he's
So we
Take it
finished.
like
So,
a man, Stephen.
Bluebet Stadium.
Take
Take
it like a man, Stephen.
Come on.
Come on.
No, Steve.
I'm not talking. You guys talk.
No. Don't be a sook. Tell me what went wrong, Steve.
Yes, you turned
I
up.
have no idea what went wrong.
See, I personally think it was the Adam Reynolds influence.
It had to make a difference. Some
You guys,
considerable difference.
Around the week before, we were discussing, and we said winning covers a multitude of sins, and it was in relation to Souths. But without Adam Reynolds, it looks like you guys didn't even look like winning. There was nothing in the kit bag.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
And
Okay.
and Addo Carr 6
pretty
tries.
bad.
No, we won't. Let's talk about Addo Carr 6 tries, Steve.
Yeah,
You've got to admit
pretty
that was impressive.
Yeah.
It was impressive.
Yeah. Even Munster's conversion started to get better.
Well, yeah.
They're a very clinical side when they're on Melbourne. They're scary good, I think they're going to give the Panthers a bit of a run for their money. I think.
All right.
Okay. Bluebet Stadium where the Penrith Panthers beat the Cronulla Sharks 48-0.
I was
Now-
en route to my game, so I didn't see this game.
Oh, if only I had a pair of headphones to put on. I'm not a Cronulla supporter. 48-0.
Or a Penrith
Pretty bad.
supporter.
What's-
Pretty bad. Yeah.
What's going on with the Sharks? Do they not want to play for their new interim coach?
Was it the Sharks or was it just the Panthers being the Panthers?
No, you got to look at it. The Sharks were going all right. They weren't setting the world on fire, but they were winning games. And we were mentioning that their little edge defence with Jesse Ramian was a bit soft, but overall they looked pretty good. The coach was making some tough calls, had some of the older players in reserve grade, was getting the best out of the young guys. They've sacked their coach and they've won nothing since.
Yep.
And now they're starting to get lapped.
I honestly, I think it comes down to the fact that their team is too old. I think they have a number of aging.
You reckon?
Yeah, the roster is aging.
They've got a monster pack though.
No,
They should be
I
getting
don't-
go for it. Oh,
No,
look,
I don't-
Handlin, Ueli, Toby
Hang on,
Rudolph.
What makes the...
They've
Yeah,
got lots
there's
of
Toby
big
Rudolph
players.
is the only one I think of.
Handlin
when I think
Ueli's
of the
a
pack.
good player. Jack Williams is a good,
Yeah.
good player.
See, I don't agree. I think their roster is aging considerably.
No,
And
all those guys aren't playing in first grade though.
Well, Moylan's
Hameti,
there.
Yeah, Moylan. Their halves are experienced. What would the Dogs give to have a bit of experience in their halves?
Yeah, okay, well, yeah, that's right. And they're all kids, so they've got the opposite.
Yep. Did Townsend get hooked?
Yes.
When was that? When in the game?
Oh, hang on, Townsend.
Yeah, Townsend, because I know Flanagan.
No. I was thinking Flanagan for some
Townsend
reason.
went off, didn't he?
Oh,
He went off before the end of the game.
now I don't
thought.
remember.
Yeah, I think he did, but he was injured.
Okay.
There was
Either way.
Okay.
And the Panthers were clinical.
Well, look, the Panthers haven't changed. They're still doing the same Panthers thing they've been doing all year.
Brian Toho runs for as many metres every game as the entire Cronulla forwards pack every week.
Yep.
Well, they say his post-contact
Far
meters
out.
was more than the forward pack's post-contact meters.
He's going great.
Serious
Guns.
player, isn't he?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. The Panthers are on fire.
Flying.
Wouldn't want to be playing. Wouldn't want to be playing them next week.
Who's playing them next week?
I don't know.
Oh, you guys just keep up.
Oh,
keep up.
you're playing them, are you?
No, we're playing Brisbane.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, he's already played them twice and been smashed twice.
Anyway, we'll talk about that next show.
Excuse me, we put 3 tries on them.
Okay, let's go to Bankwest Stadium where the Parramatta Eels beat the Sydney Roosters 31-18.
Got
I
those
did go.
headphones? Can I have the
I did go.
headphones, please?
No.
Oh,
I did go. I am one very proud Roosters supporter.
Yeah, and I think you should be. I
I thought
admirably.
when I had to go home and watch the game because we were up in the nosebleed right in the corner near the post, and so you don't get a perspective from there. I saw things that I think, that's not good. I watched the game and I thought they were absolutely courageous, the Roosters. I mean, yeah, they put on 31 points. I thought a 7-point win would have been a fair result. That last try was purely fatigue, but I was very proud of the team, honestly.
There's a couple of things in the next show I actually want to talk about when it comes to some of these hits that have been, but we'll talk about that later.
you sure don't want to talk about it now?
Well, okay, but I want to bring up a particular point later. So,
Well,
let's talk about Teddy's hit, for example.
Yep, shoulder in the head.
Shoulder in the head or not?
no.
It was a
Because
shoulder
he was
in the head.
falling.
Yeah.
He's still aimed up with his shoulder in his head. You don't go to hit somebody in the guts with your shoulder.
You obviously have not ever played.
No, I have two eyes that work.
I will tell you why. I will tell you why. Steve will be on my side this time
Who wants him?
because
He's never on your side.
Teddy runs like this. All right? So he's always trying to cut through.
Yeah.
So he's going to cop anyone who's taller than a midget is going to hit him.
But
Right?
he was
But
on his way. The
you
Cora
are-
was on his way down as
hang
well.
on a second. You're playing against your Parramatta. You're playing against the competition leaders with one of the best players in the world, about to get the ball away. What's the bloke supposed to do? Go, oh, Teddy's coming towards me. I better not try and stop him. I'll just be standing front on
No,
and
you
let
wrap
him
your
run
arm
into me.
around. You wrap your arm
He
around.
fell into him.
Oh,
It
come
was
on.
absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I tend to agree. And you know why?
Yep.
I think he has a valid point about Tedesco. Because a few years ago, you were always saying about Greg Inglis. You know, Greg Inglis feigns all this falling to the ground and all this sort of stuff. Greg Inglis used to set his feet widespread, and the only way players could get into the ground was to lift. Mm-hmm. And you used to say, he did it on his own, but that was the only way to do it. So when you're tackling a player, and the only way to get them on the ground, and they've got their legs apart, quite often the only way to do it is to lift them. And
I don't know how that's relevant
anyway.
to Tedesco. I mean,
Yeah, neither do
I
I,
agree.
actually.
I agree.
But
I agree.
Because he's on my side, I'm
I
listen.
agree that Tedesco
I'm
goes
making this
down.
point.
Tedesco goes down, but the point is, a proper tackle on anybody, up or down, is you wrap your arms. This guy came in with his shoulder.
It wasn't cocked.
to hit him.
He hit him, and all he did was
He went like this.
if he had been standing there,
I'm
and
never
he,
gonna
and
win
he
an
had
argument
gone
with you
and he had
about it,
gone to the
so let's move
outside.
Sometimes I think you've got to take into account what the defensive player is doing as well. It can't always be the player with the ball who's in the wrong.
So how come you guys are right and the commentators on most of the TV channels agree that he
No,
probably
they
should have
didn't.
got 10 in the bin?
No way.
All the Fox commentators
Wow.
and
All
the 9 commentators said he should have gone.
All the commentators afterwards said no after they'd looked at it again.
Well, I don't
because
agree.
commentators
I don't
make
think so.
mistakes. And if I felt like I wanted to talk about the South game, I'd talk about some 3 tries that should never have been allowed. But commentators
We're past
make
that game.
mistakes.
Yeah. Anyway.
So
So what do we think?
I think you should be proud of the Roosters. I think they did a very good job. But
If they'd held the ball earlier in the game, though,
Yeah.
they would have won that.
Yeah, and look. Potentially, we could have been playing against 11 or 12 players. Now you would have obviously thought that was a travesty, but
I think the Dylan Brown one, he should have been off.
Yeah.
I cannot believe that they let that bloke stay on after
can you
hitting someone
believe
in the
that
back.
the bunker did nothing and sat on their
No.
hands? And then you know what? Did you see it on field? Tedesco gets pulled up by Matt Checken as they're walking onto the field and says, "Oh, we've put him on report, by the way, mate."
Yeah.
And they must have told Trent. He was absolutely furious. If you've seen the press conference, he was furious.
Is Trent Robinson going to get fined?
He should.
Well, I don't know,
Call
but
him
honestly,
incompetent?
but do you get fined when you're telling the truth?
Yeah, of course you
Yes,
do.
Ricky Stewart does all the time. Believe me, Ricky Stewart does. What do you think of Parramatta? They starting to set a bit of a benchmark?
I think they should have beaten us by a lot more if they were any a decent team. Honestly.
I'm not saying anything. I get harassed.
Did
too
you
much by
think?
Parramatta
Did you
supporters.
remember the second try that Bryce Cartwright scored, right close to the line? It was off 2 passes from Reid Marnie.
Yep.
I thought both of those were marginally forward, personally. And I saw from up there. I thought
he's moving away from me.
From up
He wants
there,
your support.
I don't want to get a hit. I thought both of them were marginally forward.
Look, there are a number of forward passes over the weekend they've never pulled up.
Yeah.
Yes.
But look,
That's
it wasn't
making
the
my
difference
blood
in the
boil.
game. I think the fact is, if you look at our stats, I think they had 80 tackles in our 20, and we had like 7, I think, and we still scored 3 tries. So if we could get through the middle third, which we can't do at the moment, and then we could put some passes together, then we're a good team, because when we get down to the other end, we score. But couldn't do it. We just couldn't get there.
All right, McDonald's Park, Knights and Raiders. Knights winning 24-16.
Now this
What
was
is wrong with the Raiders?
Wagga?
Wagga.
Yeah. Okay.
What is wrong with the Raiders?
Tell you what, I
Wouldn't
mean,
we like to know?
16-0 to begin with.
Well, and today they've come out. I mean, Bateman has come out from England saying that there's issues.
You shouldn't pay attention to anything John Bateman says from over there. Honestly.
No. Agree.
No, but at the end of the day, there are obviously issues.
Yep.
And again, is it a problem with their roster aging? Because I'm talking Crocker, I'm talking
Papali.
Papali. Hodgson is obviously not very happy.
Yeah.
Because he's talking to other clubs.
Yeah.
Hang on. You say that. Atkins, Simonson, Crisp, Curtis Scott, Jack Whiten,
Well,
George
Curtis Scott's quite
Papali,
old.
Tom Starling. They're not an old team.
Well, Curtis Scott is.
Jared Croker's.
Jared Croker is. But Jared didn't
I didn't say
play.
Jared Croker. I said Jack Whiten.
He didn't play.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think something's just gone off the boil.
The questions are asked over and over again when this happens with Ricky. Can he coach or can't he coach? And there's always the question.
He's got to the grand final 2 years ago, and he got to
Yep.
minors, the majors this year. So, you know what? Yes, he can coach.
Yeah.
Is there a question though that players get tired of him?
Yeah.
I think that is a possibility.
Well, apparently somebody left the mic on, or that somebody recorded what was going on.
no, that was an old recording.
Oh, it was an old recording.
Yeah, that apparently was an old recording from a couple of years ago that someone said, "Oh, this is new."
Right. Okay.
But
Yeah.
I think there's an issue with Ricky, and I think that players get tired of that so intense Ricky. But
Well, Canberra should be in the same boat as Melbourne, in my opinion. They've got one city, they're a one city team. They've got a vast junior area. I know Brisbane pinch from all across Queensland, but they've got all the Riverina, all the way down to the border.
Both have miserable weather.
Both have miserable weather. That's right. They're quite isolated.
Yeah.
They should be they should be where Melbourne is. And I think it frustrates me a little bit when they're talking about a premiership window, and I'm thinking, well, how do you say that? Like, this is a good roster.
It is a good
At the start of the year, we were thinking this team was going to be top 4.
Yeah. Well, I've got to tell you, I don't think the Knights were that impressive.
Oh, they were pretty average.
Well, that means the Raiders must have absolutely switched off, because it was 16-0 at half
They
time.
did.
It was
In the second half, they absolutely switched off. Kalen Ponga kicked off the second half with a very smart short kick.
So did Teddy, by the way, and nobody noticed that. Anyway, he did.
Thank you for that. That's history now.
I like the 3 tries that shouldn't have been allowed for you.
It's like working with children. Never work with children or animals. Why am I here?
Are we children or
They said
animals?
You're the children or the animal.
So I mean, and that, I don't know what it was, but that seemed to spark Newcastle. Obviously, something else happened in the sheds, but they weren't that good. But
Nope.
you know what? They were a hell of a lot better than the Raiders in the second half.
Yeah. You don't want to be a Raiders fan at the moment. There's a lot of questions being asked.
All right, let's go on to Campbelltown Sports Stadium, where the Gold Coast Titans 36 beat the West Tigers 28. honestly, I feel for Madge. I really do feel for Madge.
Yeah.
Why?
Because he has a team who doesn't seem to want to... They've had 2 games now where they're trying to honour Tommy Raudonikis, and they've fallen asleep in both games. I mean, if this isn't going to get you excited to play a good game, what is?
I noticed when they threw to Madge in the dressing room, I think it was after the game, he's talking to them, he's going to give him a spray, and behind them are all lithographs of themselves, like photos and things like that. And I think there are probably some players in some clubs who just believe that the hype about, oh, you look at me, I'm an NRL player, and look at yourself and say, that's enough.
Yep.
And then don't do the work you need to live up to that picture, if you like. And I wonder whether there's a bit of that going on at the West Tigers, where they're just not putting in for him. And he could have given it to them last in the press conference, and he was very sort of evened, and he said, "We just got to find it." I don't know. He's probably sick of yelling at him.
So on NRL 360, and we'll give credit to it, they were talking about what do you do? Because people are now saying, should you get rid of Madge? So do you sack Madge or do you redo the roster?
No, I don't think sacking. They've been through 5.
I don't think sacking Madge.
They've been through 5 coaches in 10 years or something like that, and it's clearly not the problem.
No.
I don't know. Yeah. I think both of these teams play atrocious football at times, and then when they're on.
Yeah.
Admittedly, the Tigers actually went for a little purple patch there when they were on song, and I was thinking, they're just going to run over the top of them, and they stopped.
Imagine how they'd be going without Adam Dewey.
Oh yeah,
he's been
Nofluma's making meters, and that's just it. You look at it and you go, there's some players in that team who are putting in 100%.
Yep.
And I'm struggling to understand how a team with the backing of the West Tigers, they've got massive amount of public support. They've got huge membership numbers. They're backed by leagues, clubs.
Yep.
I don't understand why this problem continues. So,
and it's been an endemic problem for 10 years at least.
Yep.
So what do we want to say about the Titans?
I think the Titans are lucky.
Yeah.
When they come up against good teams, they're not going to win those games, because you can't squander. They scored the first 3 tries in that match, and you can't squander leads like that against better opposition.
Yep.
So I think the Titans are very lucky. I think they're still coming together. Fogarty looks good.
You can talk about Fafita.
You can talk about Fafita.
Is Fafita? Fafita's gone to the judiciary tonight. It's either nothing or 2 games suspension.
Fair enough.
It was very lazy. It often happens when you get wrong-footed, but it looked bad.
Yep.
He hooked his face. He could have just easily have slapped him, and that would have been a lesser charge. But he got him and he hooked him.
It's very hard for a tall man to not do something like that occasionally. It just is.
long arms.
Yeah. Oh, look, and my pet peeve is players that stay down or back into tackles and then get up. They're on the ground and you're thinking, man, you get hit harder than that when you celebrate a try.
Yeah. And you know what?
Yes. I hate it.
Those players who stay down because of the so-called crusher,
they
go off for 2 minutes.
Yep.
If they're that injured, because there's too many of them who haven't happened, I'm staying down. Penalties given, and they jump up and they take the next run.
It happened in the Manly Warriors game.
Yep.
I can't remember, the winger went off the field. He was off for like 3 seconds and then ran back on.
Yep.
Yeah. It either hurt you or it didn't.
That's right. And I think it's time the NRL said,
Pompey, I think.
If you're injured, if you're staying down injured and you get a penalty,
you're milking it. Then you go
sideline for 2 minutes.
You go for HIA.
Yep.
I'd give them that. Give them 10.
No, I just think there has to be a reason to take them off, and they'll stop acting.
There's a free interchange. You get your HIA and you back out. I guarantee you they won't do it.
Well, I guarantee they won't do it if you just take them off, but they can't replace them. I'm saying take it off for 2 minutes without replacement. Then just see how many of them act.
No, you can't do that.
Yeah, you can.
No, you can't. Because what if it's legit? You've just penalised a team because you've penalised the team that's been injured.
How many of them are legit?
I'm just...
Yeah, how many?
I'm just saying.
Seriously. There'd be more of those sort of tackles now pulled up than any other tackle in the game. We never saw them a few years ago.
But that's because players are now not hitting the line to get a dominant tackle.
They're
backing in to get a pass away.
Correct.
So of course it's going to happen. They're contributing to it. It's like when Teddy runs and falls over halfway down and gets hit.
Okay, let's go on to Queensland Country Bank Stadium where the North Queensland Cowboys beat Brisbane Broncos 19-18. And honestly, I thought the Broncos at 18-12 had this wrapped up.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay, the Cows. I got one tip right.
You
Just the one?
You got to mention that moment.
Oh, yeah. The Kyle Felt try.
He had a moment, did he?
The snorkel moment.
I've been watching rugby league for a long time. And there are some tries that stick in your memory.
Yeah.
And I can't believe that a bloke could be totally surrounded by 3 footballers and still do this and score a try. And he had control and he got up with the ball.
And it didn't look like he could even see where he was going.
He still put it over the line.
It was amazing.
Oh, I think that's my early try of the year for sure.
He had an elastic arm that night.
It was a beauty.
Man,
it was a beauty.
That was sensational. So,
and he has a habit of doing weird things, doesn't he, Kyle Felt, in that way?
Yes.
Oh, look, I actually rate him. I think he is an excellent player. I really do.
Yep. So,
Broncos? I got nothing to say about the Broncos.
Cowboys?
Payne Haas had a great game.
Payne Haas had a great game.
Matt Lodge was good.
Poor
old Carrigan got an ACL.
Yep. Tamalolo was excellent.
Yep.
Back to his best. Had about a 7-minute break in the entire game.
Yeah, thanks Broncos. So we play next week.
Yeah. Either way.
Yes.
What have you got anything to say about the game?
No,
you thought they had it and they didn't.
I thought it was probably one of the better games of the weekend, sadly.
Oh, you reckon?
Yeah.
Well, it didn't help my 3 out of 8. I think I got 3 out of 8.
You should just follow my tips. Listen to my tips, Tom.
Didn't you just say you got 1 all weekend?
No, I only got 2 wrong.
Oh, you
Two
got 2 wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to Lotto Land where the Manly Sea Eagles narrowly
managed to get home.
beat the Warriors 38-32.
Oh dear. Gee.
What a fantastic game of football
There were some
that was.
purple patches there. But
both teams.
And you talk about South Sydney not knowing how to defend.
Look, I always thought it was going to be... I thought it would be tough for Manly to make meters with their 2 starting front rowers out. I didn't think that the middle defence would be as affected as it was. It's like... and I couldn't understand, like the Warriors, why did they keep going wide? All they needed to do was bust them up the centre. Yeah. Because they looked dangerous. Every time they went up the centre and 1 pass wide, they scored. So what do they try and do? They try and go out to the wing.
So you take out Tom's 2 tries and 1,000 tackle busts and
5,000
4
try
assists. Yeah, amazing stats. They're a pretty crap team, really.
But how tough is your life? How tough is life when you score 32 points and still lose?
Yeah. Talk about forward passes. That Cody Nicarima, when he went into dummy half, he doesn't know what backwards means.
No.
It was interesting when the crowd is yelling forward, the players on the ground yelling forward, and the ball just keeps going. And I'm going, hang on a second, that was forward, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it was rubbish defence by both teams.
Terrible.
38-32, that's a shocker.
That's all right.
70
there
points in the
a lot
game.
of forward passes this weekend.
Yeah.
And it seems to be getting worse.
Yeah, they're trying for flatter and flatter and flatter passes all the time out of dummy half, and it just they get it wrong a lot. But unfortunately, it's amazing how many times it doesn't get pulled up.
That's right. Yeah. And and as for an ugly win, I'd take a 38-32 win rather than a 50-0 loss any day of the week.
Sorry? What happened?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, let's go on to Nestrada Jubilee Stadium where the St George Dragon, now talk about a bad game.
Oh man.
Goodness. That
beat
was
the Canterbury Bulldogs 32-12.
That first half was, and I hate to say this because I know we've got some Dragons fans and some Dogs fans out there that listen to us.
Well, careful, because Barry thinks that you're actually a nice guy, so be careful what you say.
That first half was probably the worst game of football I've ever seen.
Atrocious.
Wow, that's a big call.
There was nothing. That was so average, it wasn't funny.
Yeah, I agree.
And then, the Dragons did come back in the second half and, looked
Put
like
on
it
lots
looked
of
like a
points.
team that wanted to play.
Yeah, but against the Dogs, that threw absolutely nothing.
But that first half.
And I've got to say, I feel for Kyle Flanagan. I think he's going to be the scapegoat again. But honestly,
But
the
you
forwards
look at the way
are
he was
doing
playing.
nothing.
He was pretty bad.
Yeah, but
He
you
was
can't-
pretty
as
bad.
a halfback, you can't unless you're forwards
Yeah.
and going forward. You can't do anything.
But I was thinking about down on the 20.
No,
He
no.
was pretty bad in terms
But
of
think about
distributing
this.
the ball.
It's the same guy who got the Roosters to the semis last year.
Well, he didn't get him to the semis.
No,
He
but,
helped.
but he was there.
Yeah.
And what I'm
Yeah.
saying is he had a good team around
Oh,
him.
for
now.
sure.
He's got a
For
bad team around
No,
him.
no,
now.
I take that point. But you know,
And you only have to look. You only have to look at teams this year where the forward packs have been dominated and how poorly the halves go.
Yeah.
Manly, the first four games of the year,
Yep.
everybody was crucifying Cherry Evans. Now he's back to being form halfback of the comp. Well,
Yeah.
one of the form halfbacks of the comp. The forwards are now winning the battle. Luke Brooks, who, you know, I've got to feel a little bit sorry for Luke Brooks because he gets much maligned by the Tigers fans. However, he's playing behind a beaten forward pack.
He is. He is.
You know, Flanagan, admittedly, he doesn't take on the line, and that was, and I remember when he was at the Roosters, that's the thing that the coach kept coming back to. He doesn't take on the line.
All right, we're going to wrap this up.
Yeah.
Who was
Right.
the ladder?
Okay. All right. Predictable first in first place. Eels second. Storm third. Rabbitohs make out your top four. Roosters, Dragons, Titans, and Warriors make up the 8. And just outside of the 8, in equal 8th place, we might as well say, are the Sea Eagles, the Knights, the Cowboys, and then on 6 points, the Raiders. The Raiders on 6 points on their own. Then in 13th position, the Sharks, the Broncos, and the West Tigers on 4, and the Dogs still with only 1 win.
Yeah.
All right. That brings us to the end of our show, gentlemen. Thank you for being here. Thank you all for watching. This is Tom, Brian, and Steve on NRL from the Sidelines, and we'll do it all again next week. Thanks for
See ya.
watching.
See
Bye-bye.
ya.